I'm hitting record.
All right.
Uh, this is it's just programming, bro. Episode 0 because it's programming. Uh,
Hi, I'm Ram. This is that's the my co-host Daniel.
yeah. Oh man, have you seen those AI things that are like auto generate a podcast? Have you
No,
seen
I have
or
not,
heard
but I've
them?
I've 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 seen those AI generation song things that I was like shit. I'm
Oh
wondering what
yeah, some of those
the
are pretty good.
copyright implications are.
Yeah, yeah.
Because because if you generated it with AI, that means there's a highly likelihood that you probably either use copyrighted material. I'm not saying that it's true. I'm just saying it's highly likely. All right. So who
Yeah.
actually gets the copyright is the question. Does
Uh
the AI get the copyright, or do you get the copyright for telling the AI what to write?
Oh, so I know in the United States the copyright is not assignable to is only assignable to humans. There was this case where a monkey took a picture of itself, and the photographer whose camera it was tried to stop people from copying and pasting the image all over the internet, but the ruling was you didn't take the picture. It's not yours to copyright. The monkey took the picture, um, which is pretty bananas. Yeah, I guess so. Let's see if we can find the.
Well, that makes sense, right? Because if the monkey took the picture, right, like you can't,
Here it is. There, that's the monkey selfie. So
that's awesome.
the monkey is holding the camera in this picture and pressed the button somehow. Uh,
And he
I don't know.
smiled.
Yeah, he
So look,
smiled. Although that's a sign of aggression in monkeys, if I remember correctly. I don't know why the monkey would be aggressive towards an object, essentially a rock it's holding. But maybe this brand of monkeys doesn't. Maybe this isn't quite aggression. But yeah, it does look like it's smiling. That's cool. Monkey
I'm
selfie
just saying that
copyright dispute.
the copyright here,
Yeah.
okay, cannot be on the photographer, all right, who owned the camera, okay. It
Oh
it
yeah.
it it totally is the monkey's copyright. Now, if it that
Well, the
said,
monkey doesn't
that
get a copyright either. The monkey isn't like it can't be assigned a copyright. It's not.
because it
I don't
can't
think it.
defend itself,
It yeah.
it's an
It doesn't
animal.
have legal standing in a court. Uh, but so for the AI, where you tell the AI stuff, I think uh, my understanding of that is the whatever creative work you do in your prompting, that's copyrightable, but the output of the AI is just mechanistically generated and so is not considered copyrightable. There's no
So here
creative
is
component
this is
to it,
where the conundrum
legally
comes.
speaking.
Right. So here becomes the question for me. All right. And this is a theoretical question more
Okay.
so than anything. Given that these LLMs are statistical models, all right,
Yeah.
they follow, I would think, because they're, and I guess because this is a vast amount of knowledge, it'll be difficult to pull to show this. But it's still like it's countably infinite, but it's still a finite amount of knowledge that it's been trained on. Okay. Which means I would think that we would hit the pigeonhole principle at some point,
Yeah.
where two queries will hit the same answer, even
My
though they are disjoint.
my
They might be
understanding
disjoint.
is that there is a convergence going on at the high end of LLMs. They're all basically the same as each other, and adding more compute seems to be running out of steam. Like adding 10 times more compute doesn't get you a whole lot of extra whatever, like nuance in your responses. Um,
Right.
yeah. I'm
But
really curious about the
so
the
I've always
oh,
thought of
yeah.
AI, artificial general intelligence, for folks who are and if we ever actually post this, this would be a very interesting topic to even discuss.
Comment
Um,
below.
yes, comment below. Um, I always believed that a real first system of AGI, if we want to call it that, I really hate that term, but
Yeah.
AGI would be a combination of different techniques, not specific to supervised learning, which is effectively what transformer-based architectures are, although they do unsupervised pre-training, as they say, with tokenization and self-discovery of features. But
Yeah.
I always thought it would be a combination of evolutionary algorithms in conjunction with learning to create the initial statistical model. And if they end up becoming,
Yeah, if there's
if the
some
errors converge to some epsilon, you
some
can
error
load it up into
function
a fully logic model.
where
So
it can tell
it
how
combined all three.
wrong it is would help a lot. And then it could do
Right.
some sort of yeah, evolutionary stages, um, generations. I'm curious about, like, legally speaking, what exactly is the difference between what humans do and what LLMs do in principle? Like, is there something, or is this just humans being like, well, I'm a human and humans are special because I want that to be the case? uh, like, it kind of seems as though they're just like the guy with the TypeScript types and thinking about what exactly is the showstopper to running Doom. What exactly is the difference between human creativity and what LLMs do? I, it might turn out, it seems to me as though it's going to turn out there isn't a difference. Um, there's no fundamentally different thing that humans do versus what computers do. I don't know. What do you think about
I would
that?
think. I don't know. That's an interesting question because of the fact that humans are
We think we're special.
no. All living
Oh, okay.
things have their own kind of goals in life, which is mainly self-survival in a lot of cases, right? But with humans, we also have the existential question associated with us, right? Because we not only think about our own existence and survival, but over time, we've at least this is why civilizations were created. We realized that it's easier to survive longer in groups,
Uh huh.
and so we've over time evolved to create a secondary responsibility upon us. So we have almost a secondary goal, right? Um,
Like collaboration. Are you
through collaboration, not so much through hierarchy. So this is where we differ from other animals, right? Like lions with prides and stuff. We recognize that the pride there is a hierarchy, right? Like yes, it's true that in the pride's case, the lion is or lioness, I think, is the one that's in control there, the matriarchy there. Um, to protect the pride or at least navigate the males to actually go hunting, you know, get food for the pride and all that kind of stuff. But there's known roles between them. Here, we recognize that through collaboration, we can easily switch from one responsibility to another over time if we so choose.
are
So we
you
have a lot more flexibility in how we might end up potentially working through life in order to maintain our survival, if not entertaining ourselves.
and
It's a
that's a
yeah,
difference between humans and LLMs?
and artificial. Well, in AGIs, I was thinking more AGI, not so much LLMs. But in terms of task completion,
Do you think
I
that's
would
a
say that there is a slight difference in how we complete tasks.
do you think that's a
Yes,
difference
fundamentally it's the same.
in
All right,
principle? Like
huh?
they could do you think that's a difference in principle, like they couldn't possibly do it or they just currently don't? collaborate. They LLMs,
If you
AGIs.
allow them collaborate, then this one piece that I'm going to mention could
Yeah,
potentially be solved. I don't know because the jury is still out there, especially given the fact that right now, as far as I know, the majority of production level LLMs all kind of train on the same base data set. They all pre-train on the same base data set. So intuitively, for me at least, it sounds like they would have the same similar intuitions, although they might diverge at a higher level because we're dealing with multi-layer deep neural networks. But I'll explain this in a slightly different way. Let's take an example with a human and a problem that he or she never seen before. All right, in a
yeah,
domain that he or she may that's similar to the domain that they've they are experts in or they're relatively competent in, but they've never actually addressed this particular type of problem. So the easiest answer for this is you know um, a mathematician becoming a computer scientist. Okay, mathematicians tend to think continuously, because their models and stuff are continuous. They're learning discrete mathematics here and doing numerical simulations. Okay, so this is how actually computer science kind of started in the early days. They're able to at least be able to intuitively figure out ways of solving a particular problem using their earlier techniques, right? With
yeah.
today's LLMs, as far as I know, um, switching them from one um,
Domain
domain to
to another.
another require them to almost backtrack a few layers to do some pre-training before they actually become experts again.
Yeah. Uh, so more
So,
generic stuff, more generic AIs are necessary.
right, to address new domains very easily
I feel
because
like
of intuition.
so. I've definitely heard of people who make an AI for playing chess, and then that same AI is trash at checkers, and then but I think also people are doing things like, okay, let's make the same AI do chess and checkers and other games, and they keep on like adding more and more games, um, and like that's a route that is actively being researched. There isn't like a wall that they've hit where they're like, oh well, I
And
guess you
here's the
can't.
other thing that I've always kind of bring up when it comes to LLMs, natural language processing, and even AGI in general. What is our ultimate goal? Is a big question of mine. Okay, when it comes to artificial intelligence, um,
To kill all
are we
humans.
are we replacing everybody with these single units?
I
To
mean,
which case, what is the point of humanity becomes one question to me, philosophically.
ideally, the robots would do everything we don't want to do, and we would do all the things we feel like doing.
Yeah,
That would
but
be
what is
cool.
that? That is the question. Like, what do you feel like doing,
What do I
right?
feel like doing if I
And
didn't
and
have
what is
anything
society
specific that I
for?
had to
Then
do
becomes a
to,
question for me.
yeah,
Okay. So these are not trivial questions, by the way. I'm not trying to play devil's advocate. Okay? These are legit questions that I have when it comes to this sort of like end goal, so to speak, right? Because it's at some point
huh.
you probably have heard the saying, "The idle man's brain is the devil's workshop."
uh, idle hands make the devil's work. I've heard it phrased like that.
Yeah. Or yeah, I've always heard of it as an idle man's brain is the devil's workshop
Cool.
but it's the same idea, right? It's that we end up trying to come up with things to do when we have nothing to do, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes those may or may not be against our benefit. And so the question becomes now, okay, let's say that AI is replacing everybody. Okay, legally, let's talk about the most recent thing that Bill Gates talked about AI replacing doctors in 10 years or 20 years, okay?
Oh, interesting.
Which is something that he announced in some interview,
Like
okay?
medical doctors.
Yeah, doctors,
So doing
diagnosis.
surgery, doing diagnoses. I feel like doing diagnoses, they would be pretty good, well suited for that.
I would think so to an extent because of the fact that I don't know if you know how the diagnostic process works, but a lot of times
A little bit.
humans are black boxes. So
Okay.
through experience, they statistically say there's a likelihood you have given these symptoms, you have this disease, and then
Sure.
they go run a test to make sure you have it.
Yeah. And
Okay.
they ask questions, and then based on your answers, they can
Right,
the
exactly. And
probabilities shift
so over
around.
time, different doctors will have different sort of decision trees kind of built into them.
Yeah.
If you have the same AI or different sets of AIs having the same decision tree, you're going to end up hitting a point where the AI itself may or may not have those different perspectives that it needs in order to solve a particular or diagnose a particular problem.
Yeah. Actually,
Okay.
my girlfriend's dad does he looks at images x-rays and stuff and then
Yeah.
like determines whether people have cancer, and you're supposed to err on the side of telling people that they have cancer when they don't, because then you'll be more less likely to not tell someone that they have cancer when they do. Um, and so this was a couple years ago, but he instead of doing that, he just they reviewed his stuff, and he just got 100%. He was completely right about every call he made in since the last time they had reviewed. Um, so uh, that tells me that they're still using humans, and that uh, I don't know, maybe
I've actually make the argument that when it comes to image analysis,
yeah,
a lot of these AIs that are being built can help provide better starting points to doctors who may or may not have a good hit
yeah.
rate.
He's been doing it for quite a long time, so he's like near the end of 20 or so, maybe
Right,
30
exactly. So
years.
he's gotten that intuition. But those
Yeah,
who have maybe 10 or 15, they might be at still like 60 or 70%. But with an AI that gives them a better starting point, they might always hit 90 to 95%, which means that extra 5% is something that they could easily pick up because the AI is helping them. Right. So I see the use case for them from the standpoint of pushing the boundary of expertise, but I do not see the direct replacement just mainly because you have the unfortunate um, problem that over time there be new, disease evolves, right? That's the beauty of biology in many ways. Um, AIs may not necessarily evolve as quickly as biology, which means you will still eventually have to keep a human on hand unless you're going to say that there's going to be no liability for AI, which means if we kill people, it doesn't matter.
I don't think so. I think the changing landscape is something that humans also have to update to, and I don't see any reason that humans could do that and AIs couldn't. Like if a
Right.
human can keep up with it, then an AI in principle could, and same the other way around. Uh, yeah, it's not clear to me that there's any
There's no black and
anything
white
that
in this, but
the
it does become a question for me. Is kind of
yeah.
my opinion. It's not black and white, but at the same time, it's not.
What would you do if you didn't have to worry about eating and shelter and clothing and sleeping? Like all those things totally taken care of. Now,
So basically, I'm
what do you
immortal.
do? No, just machines are taking care of all the things that you currently need to keep living. I don't know. You still die of old age, let's say,
Um,
unless the computer, the unless the AIs can figure that out, but they haven't yet.
I mean, I would ultimately ask why I'm here.
Yeah, and
That's
would
still
you just
always a
do
big
that all
question of
day, every
mine.
day? I feel like I would keep writing code.
I like writing code,
I
but for
might
me, the
only,
search is beyond just writing code. I would enjoy doing that from an intellectual point of view. But if you're asking
yeah,
what I'm going to be pondering about, I'm going to be still pondering about what is existence.
I
Why are we
might.
here?
It might be
This is
that I.
something that I don't think any AI is going to solve.
Why are we
That's the
here?
ultimate question about it, right? What is existence and why are we here?
I I don't know. Just because, who was it? I don't know. This isn't my phrase, but just because you can ask a question doesn't mean that it has to have an answer. Um, I
Yes,
I don't think
I think,
there's necessarily an answer to why are we here. That might be as nonsensical as why are oranges.
but
End of
it's
question.
not
Why are
necessarily.
oranges?
The very fact that the question can pop up in one's mind,
Uh huh.
okay, is to me a a motivation to at least explore it. All right, um, because as you said, if everything is solved and AI addresses all of our basic needs, right?
Maybe.
There are
Yeah.
higher level responsibilities that I would think that we would want to at least talk about and explore, right? Now, naturally, one societal thing that becomes an important thing is inequality that currently exists. Would that be completely removed when all these basic needs are addressed with technology? Or
Yeah. Let's
is it
say
going to
that is.
further
Let's say
inequality just because of the fact that there are some people that are going to try and take advantage of the fact that we now have these replacements?
it seems uh possible that there could be enough robots and enough energy and stuff, and everything could be automated to where anything you could ever want could be made for you. And so like any food that you would want, any sleeping that you want to do, any drinking, anytime you need to go pee or poo, you can do that. Anytime you need to sleep, that's taken care of. It seems like there's nothing fundamental about those things that, like, in theory at some point in the future robots could not make all of those things like readily available to everyone who wants it. Um yeah. Uh if so earlier I was saying that I think I would still program, but I also kind of wonder, do I only would I only still program because I started programming when I wanted to use, or when I had like a need to solve those things for myself. I needed to get food and stuff, and programming is a way to do that by, like, it helps me get money and then that indirectly helps me get food. Um I don't know. And like people who grow up in a in a world where you don't need to do anything, would they want to program or something? I don't know. My guess is no. They wouldn't have, like, I maybe only like to do it and think that I would keep doing it because I needed to for a while, and now I've grown to like it, and maybe they wouldn't grow to like it. Anyway, I asked the LLM Claude, why am I here? Because hey, maybe the AIs can help us answer those questions too. And I didn't actually read the whole thing, but I saw the first part is you're using an Emacs interface. to interact with me. Now I'm going to read the whole thing out loud because I want to see what it says. To interact with me, a language model. People typically use this setup to get assistance with questions, tasks, or to explore ideas without leaving their Emacs environment. Is there something specific I can help you with today? I am super curious what exactly the GPTel sends off to uh, Claude and like
Fire
how.
up, fire up, Wireshark.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. Anyway, I should go. I gotta cut it there and then do some more DSNA practice, which may or may not end up indirectly getting me food and drinks.
Well, have fun.
Good
Um,
night.
enjoy your weekend.
Yeah.
Let's reconvene next week. We'll do some real common lisp next week.
Yeah, maybe next week we
But
can do some common lisp.
we could also do more podcasting if we want to. All
Yeah,
right.
actually, I don't know if there's like a combination podcast code cast code pod. I
We
don't
could
know.
always write a platform
There's
for that.
some
That would be
some
pretty cool.
portmanteau of podcast and coding. Anyway,
All right.
codcast.
Codecast is what we're going to start calling it.
Um. Anyway, yeah. See you next Friday at
10 o'clock
7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern.
Eastern. All right.
Yeah. Bye.
Peace. Bye.